Yoruba corn snack that's perfectly crisp and addictively good. I'll walk you through the right dough texture, the perfect frying temperature, and the secrets behind that satisfying crunch. And if you love the full recipe, make sure to drop a comment below because I've got you covered. Welcome back to my channel, Naked Fusion. Today we continue our Nigerian party snack series where we make African favorite sweet snacks come alive one bite at a time. In this episode, we're making two crunchy classics, Nigerian buns and kokoro, the traditional corn-based snack loved across Yoruba kitchens. You will learn the step-by-step dough technique, how to get the perfect frying consistency, and a few tips that guarantees that golden, crispy texture every time. Don't forget, if you want detailed recipe, leave a comment below and I'll share it with you. Hit the like button if you love Nigerian snacks and let's get into that crunch. We're starting off with our crunchy Nigerian buns. And into a bowl, I have sieved some flour, some nutmeg. I'm just raising that up so that you see. And to that bowl, I'm going to be adding my sugar. I'm going to be adding a pinch of salt. I'm going to be adding baking powder. And then I'm going to mix that up first. Then after that, I'm going to make a hole in the center, just like you can see in the video. And I'm going to crack up an egg and put that in that hole that I've created. To that, I'm also going to add my melted butter and vegetable oil. This buns recipe is quite different compared to other recipe. The first time I marketed this and people bought this. In fact, I said, "Oh, this is buns," and then people started calling it cake buns, because it's really crunchy on the outside and the inside is has a texture of a cake. So just watch how I am doing this in the video. There's a reason why. So we have mixed up our egg and our butter together, and you can see how it is. It has like lumps in it. It is perfectly okay. That's exactly what we want. Now into this bowl, we're going to pour in our milk. You can either use milk or use water, but I'm using milk because I want a rich dough and I want a cake-like dough. Into that milk, I've added vanilla syrup into it. You can decide to add whatever flavoring you want, but I've added a little bit of vanilla syrup. You can see the motion that I am doing. I'm lifting, I'm not over mixing. Exactly. That's what you want to do. You want to do till it comes together slightly. The dough is going to be a bit tacky, but it won't be like watery. So you want to mix that up continuously. Those crumbs we are forming are the things that are going to get crunchy later. So add up your milk. If you want the recipe, the exact quantity, leave a comment in the comment section and I will give it to you. So you see what I'm doing. I'm trying so much not to over knead these buns. I'm trying so much not to over knead this, but this buns is literally like, I'll call it a crackling buns because the outside is it has cracks. It's not your regular buns that is round shaped and then it cracks from the inside out. No, this is exactly what it is. So after we have mixed it up exactly like this, just cover this up and allow to rest for 20 minutes at room temperature, meaning you can leave it on your counter or your table. It doesn't need to go into the fridge because we have used butter and we don't want that butter to firm up again. So just leave it out on your counter. After about 20 minutes, or before the 20 minutes, I'm going to add some vegetable oil into a deep pan, a deep frying pan. Use a deep frying pan where to deep fry this. My pan isn't even deep enough, and you'll see why while we are watching this video. So you put enough oil because we are deep frying these buns. After our oil gets hot, we're going to be adding in our buns. And the technique to add these buns, unfortunately, I didn't record that in the video, but I promise to give you an update. But you're going to see what the buns looks like already in the hot oil while it was frying. You can see what it looks like. It's not round shaped, okay? So if you use a deep pan, what happens is that the buns would float to the bottom and then rise to the top. Well, I haven't used the deep pan, I used the shallow pan, but it still worked out. But I would advise that you use a deep pan. You can see that the dough seems to be pulling apart somehow. Yes, it is fine. Just get enough dough. That is the crackling. If this pan had been deeper, you would have had I didn't have to like struggle for it to like turn it. But because I've struggled to turn it, that's why you see some of them coming out. So that's what it looks like. You're going to allow that fry and it's going to flip by itself just like the puff puff in a deep pan. So I would insist again and I would say again, please use a deeper pan. I've made this mistake so that you don't make the mistake. Use a deeper pan, like a pot, something deep that you can use to fry your buns. Now, the size of your buns, it all depends on you. You can cut it to whatever size you want to cut yours. So we're going to allow that fry and turn to golden brown. Ensure that your heat, the temperature of your stove is not overly high, because what happens is if it's too hot, the outside will be cooked and the inside will not be cooked. And if your oil is too cold, it will absorb so much oil, it becomes very soggy and very oily. But that's not what we want to achieve. So make sure that your fire is on medium heat. It's on medium heat. You have to study this by yourself. You have to see that this is the triggering movement you want to see in the little triggering movement of the oil. That's what you want to see. We don't want a quiet oil and we don't want an oil that is overly bubbly. Okay, so you just keep doing that, keep turning. For the buns that doesn't flip by itself, you can aid it to flip, but most times they usually flip by themselves once one side has browned off. Again, I would say this is not your regular Nigerian buns. It's not the regular Nigerian buns. This is a crunchy Nigerian buns. As my customers will call it, they call it cake buns, because the inside is super fluffy like a baked cake, I promise you. And the outside is crunchy. Crunchy in a melting moment kind of way. It melts in your mouth. You get that crunch and then it melts in your mouth. And tips that I will still repeat over and over again: do not overmix your dough. Do not do that slapping motion that they do with the regular Nigerian buns. You won't get this type of buns. And I would advise that you try these buns and tell me which one you prefer. If you prefer our regular Nigerian buns or this crunchy Nigerian buns. You can see our buns is browning up very nicely. Please do not be in a hurry. You need to exercise patience and you need to keep an eye on your buns while it's on the fire. So it's about almost ready to come out. And then you need to get your sieve and a paper towel so that you can put in your buns and the excess oil can be soaked up by the paper towel. So that's what you need to get ready for this stage. Once it gets to this stage, and do not be tempted to want to keep frying your dough because your feeling is not yet crunchy when it comes out. For this kind of dough, it will be crunchy as soon as it has become a little bit cold. It will be crunchy. So just take it out and gently put it into your prepared paper towel sieve so that it can absorb excess oil. Do not be tempted to leave it in the fire to get more crunchy. No, that it doesn't work that way. It would get crunchy as soon as it cools down just a little bit. You can see that it is holding already. It can hold itself already like this. It was scattering before. Now if you look at the bottom of this my pan, you can see that the buns has some of them stuck to the bottom of the pan, and that's because I didn't use a deep pan, a pan that was deep enough. It shouldn't have happened like that. So but those crunchy bits, they are lovely. You like them. They're not soft on the inside, they're just crunchy because they're small. So just get out all your buns and allow the excess oil to drain off on your paper towel. Again, if you want the full recipe, I could give this to you and you can commercialize your your these buns, and people can, they will testify the difference between this one and the other one. If you want the recipe, comment in the comment section below and I would give it to you. So that's all about our crunchy buns, and this was how we put it on a platter. I just piped some vanilla cream on it. Moving on to our next recipe, we're moving on to our kokoro. It is a Yoruba corn snack. I remember eating this as a child. So for this, you can use corn, dried corn blended, but I don't have that available, and I'm going to show you how to use the corn flour for this recipe. So you can see me taking out 1 cup of the corn flour, and the reason for this you would know later in the video. So we're going to reserve that. We're going to put that aside, and then we're going to use this other 1 cup, and we're going to add some salt. The remaining one, we'll add some salt. We're going to add sugar, add everything. Then to this bowl, I'm also going to add some pepper. Some people would add ginger to this, but ginger these days has become very scarce. So I'm not adding ginger to mine. So I've just added some dried black and red pepper, and I'm just going to mix that up together properly. So into a pot, we are going to add water, and we're going to allow that water boil. Like I will say, if you want the recipe, full recipe, comments, and I will drop you the recipe, and I'm going to pour in all that corn flour, and I'm going to begin to turn it. You're going to begin to stir. It's going to feel hard. It's going to firm up very quickly. It is corn flour after all, so it's going to look like as if you were making swallow. So you're going to stir that continuously until you have mixed everything properly. At some point, if you find out that the temperature your stove is too high, reduce it, because this is the motion. We're just going to continue doing this. We want this to cook. We need it to cook. You see that the color is changing a little gradually. Okay, we need that to cook, and we need everything mixed in evenly. Everything mixed in evenly. At this point, cooked corn flour is ready. So on a clean surface, we are going to pour out this corn flour, dust with some of those, the ones we left behind and reserved. Just dust your surface and then put this corn flour on there, because we're going to need all that remaining corn flour into this cooked corn flour. We're going to put in all that corn flour powder into the cooked corn flour. So is sticky at this point, so I'm going to try to get as much as I can out of that pot, and then we're going to begin to mix. We're going to begin to mix this dough. Okay, you can wait for your dough to cool down for a bit if it's going to be too hot for your hands. I'm already used to hot things. We had a training on that, so we're going to just knead into that dough. Going to keep kneading. We'll pour in all that flour. Don't be worried if you feel like it's stiff. No, that is the secret to getting that crunchy kokoro. It needs to have all this much of corn flour in it needed into it. It's going to go from this yellowish like color now to something a little bit like whitish. So you need that in. Continue kneading. If the dough breaks apart, put them back together. Continue kneading. Don't be worried. Keep putting that in. People may want to ask if this can be done with a mixer. I haven't done this with a mixer before, but I'm certain you can with your hook attachment. The hook dough attachment from your standing mixer should be able to do this kneading for you. But it's not difficult. It's actually very easy compared to kneading of a bread. This is fine. So this is the motion we're going to continue till we have incorporated the whole corn flour. At this point, our dough was firming up. Well, we have to use all the flour. Do not be worried about over kneading the dough. As corn flour is not one of those flours that can develop gluten, compared to all-purpose flour, bread flour. It's not that high in protein, so yeah. So that's it. The dough is all going to come together finally. It's not going to be stretchy. It's going to cut very easily. If you've made bread before, you'd know the difference when you cut through this. There is no gluten developed, nothing. As you can work this as much as you want to. You can see how the dough is looking. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what we want. We want the dough to be this exactly what it's looking like. It's looking smooth. It has all come together. It has absorbed all that extra corn flour. I'm just going to clean up my surface and get ready for shaping of our kokoro. So we're going to, if you have a child around or anybody, you can tell them, give them this assignment to do the shaping of this kokoro, because I had other things to do. So at this point, I was showing one of the kitchen assistants how to shape this up for me. So what you do is just cut a piece, and then you're going to roll out from the inside out, and you're going to get like a pointed tip. The two sides with pointed tip. You can see I had to cut that part because it's becoming too thin. If it's too thin in the middle, that's not right. So you need to shape it as you see. That's how we're going to shape our kokoro. Okay. So these, there's no scaling. You don't need to weigh. Just cut and shape. So once you've done that, arrange them on a tray, or if there's a space on your counter, you can leave them somewhere on the space on your work table. So I'm just going to transfer that to a tray, and then I'm going to give it to the kitchen assistant to continue shaping the kokoro. Like I said earlier in the video, it is best for the original taste. It is best to use the maize, the dried maize that have been blended. It is best to use that maize because it would give you the best flavor for kokoro. But this is what I had available, and I'm making use of it. To fry our kokoro, we have to heat up oil. You can deep fry, you can shallow fry. I'm kind of shallow frying here. I'm not deep frying. So I'm just going to put that in my hot oil. Note again, the oil should not be extremely hot and it shouldn't be too low. So you can see that strict movement we have there. So you put your kokoro in. If you do not have a wide pan, you can use a deep, if you have a deep, very deep long pot, but that's going to take too much oil. If you don't have a wide pan, you can just use the pan that you have, but make sure that your kokoro is rolled out to the length of your pan. Ensure to always come back to check your kokoro because it burns very quickly. It can burn within, the moment you seem to forget, it can get burnt. So ensure that you're checking your kokoro. So I'm just going to keep shaking. That's how I'm not flipping with a spoon yet because it's not yet firm. So you just shake your pan. That's why I'm shallow frying. I'm not using too much oil so that I don't spill. I'm just going to shake my pan to change the position of the kokoro. Just like our crunchy buns, it's not going to be entirely hard in the pan. When you notice that it has browned up nicely, put them on a paper towel and let it absorb excess oil. So this is what it looks like after we have finished. So as always, guys, thank you for watching till this point. Let me know in the comment section if you need the recipe for our kokoro and our crunchy Nigerian buns. If you have not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button so you can get notified when we've uploaded the remaining party snacks. Till next time, keep exploring. Bye. In the final episode of my African Party Snack series, I'm creating something completely original. Plantain pizza. There are many plantain pizza out there. Well, I think you'll find this one interesting. This unique recipe combines the traditional pizza base with a smooth blended gari flour for stretching the dough, fried ripe plantain as one of the toppings, and a rich tomato and crayfish-based sauce that gives it that unmistakable African twist. Whether you love pizza, plantain, or just exploring new flavors, this fusion will leave you inspired and craving for more. Perfect for party, family dinners, or weekend treats. Wonderful recipe? Comment below and I'll share it with you. Subscribe for more creative African fusion recipes that turns everyday ingredients into delicious global dishes. So let's get cooking. Into the bowl of a lukewarm water, I'm going to be adding sugar. To that, I'm also going to add a yeast, and then I'm going to allow that to bloom, allow that to ferment. So give that about, let's say, 5 minutes to ferment. After 5 minutes, it should be looking like this. Okay, at this point, we're ready to use our yeast mixture. In the bowl of a standing mixer, I'm going to be adding my sieved flour. I'm using all-purpose flour. This recipe can also go with bread flour, but this is what I have available. So into that all-purpose flour that I have put in, I'm going to be adding some salt. And then I'll be adding vegetable oil. And to that, I'll be adding our bloomed yeast liquid. Make sure you get all the ingredients out. Scrape down your bowl with a spatula. Get it all out. And then with your hook dough attachment, we're going to knead this till we have all our ingredients incorporated and our dough has stretched out and is pliable and easy to work with. So ensure that you start on low speed just to avoid your flour going everywhere. And once your mixture has come together, you can increase your speed to medium. Ensure that you check your dough and scrape down the sides of your dough. I'm doing this because my mixer is quite large and the quantity I'm making is not so much. So I have to aid it, like scrape underneath so that it picks up all the flour. So if you are using this kind of blender and you have this quantity, you need to aid that so that you can get everything come together. Now you see the dough is picking up everything. So it goes from that to this. We've increased it to medium speed, and we're going to, the dough is looking stretchy. Yeah, it's, you can see that it's not sticking to the sides of the bowl. So we're going to scrape that out. Scrape out every bit of it. Ensure to grease your palm before you pick your dough, especially if it's a bit tacky. Just rub a little bit of vegetable oil or olive oil, whatever, and then grease your palm. Yeah, you can see how our dough is looking. Looks really, really nice, and it's pliable. So we're going to put this in a bowl and let this go into the fridge. This is going to go into the fridge for the first proving. It's just so that it slows the proving time and develops the flavor of the pizza. So I have brought it out of the fridge. You can see it did rise a little, and this is a very small bowl, so it did rise a little. So I'm going to take it out, I'm going to deflate it, and I'm going to transfer it into a bigger bowl, and then I'm going to allow that rise for the second rising. Now what you see there in the yellow cup is our gari that I have blended very smooth just to achieve the semolina flour that is used for pizza. um as I do not have the original one, but I'm going to improvise with that. So I'm going to take this out of the bowl, and I'm going to transfer it to another bowl for second rising. So as usual, you grease your bowl, and then you put in your dough and allow this rise at room temperature or a warm place. Or if you have a proofer, just allow your dough to proof till it doubles in size. So after you've put that in your bowl, you're going to cover that up with a cling wrap. If you've got a poly bag, you can cover that with a poly bag or a damp towel. While that is rising, I'm going to go ahead to start off my some of the toppings I'm using for the pizza. So I'm using two hot dogs, and I'm using some gari, like you see I'm showing you there, and then I'm going to be using this very ripe plantain. So we're going to get a very sweet, like a very sweet pizza. So I decided to chop up my plantains in slants. You can dice them, or you can put them in circles. Whatever shape you want to put your plantains in, that's fine. I decided to put mine like this. Just cut it in slants. Because of how ripe the plantains are, I'm not going to be using any salt I'm just going to fry that as it is naturally. I'm also going to cut up my hot dogs and I'm going to fry them. Just pan fry them. So I'm frying my plantains. Um, I'm deep frying them. Not too much oil though, but just frying the plantains. Okay, while that is happening, our dough has risen. You can see it has actually doubled in size, and I've floored my surface with all-purpose flour. And I'm going to be adding my blended gari. It's very, very smooth at this point, like just slightly different than flour texture. We still have some texture to the gari, but it's very smooth. So you're going to put your pizza dough straight up there, and then you're going to dust some more flour on your pizza, and you're going to begin to stretch out your pizza dough. I am yet to learn the art of stretching out the pizza dough like you'd find the original pizza makers do. So I'm just going to stretch out the dough the way I can stretch out the dough. Yeah. So at this point, I realized, oh, I can actually put this on the pizza pan and do a proper stretch on it. So I'm going to add some gari to that pizza pan, and then I'm going to transfer my pizza dough to the pan and finish the stretching on the pan. So this dough is going to cover up this whole circle. I'm just going to keep stretching. A few centuries later, we had our dough stretched out, and you can see me trying to just keep pushing to the side so we can build that edge. Just going to rotate my pan continuously using my fingers to make that dent. I'm just going to keep pressing till I have gotten the edge. So sorry, my pan is not showing like in full in the video. Well, it took me a little while to stretch out the dough. And then I'm going to dock my dough. I've talked about docking in one of my previous videos when I made egusi frangipani tart. So we're going to dock our dough, and this is to avoid the dough from puffing up and allow the air to circulate from underneath. So once I'm done docking my dough, I'm going to put a parchment paper on this because I want to blind bake. Blind baking means I want to pre-bake this before I put my sauce and other things. So I've put that fry pan as a weight. While my dough is baking in the oven, pre-baking, I'm just arranging my toppings. You can see my plantains. I'm using the fried plantains, some fried hot dog, some onions, some black olives, and then our tomato based crayfish stew and some curry leaves. I'm going to be using that as my topping. So this is what my pizza dough looks like after blind baking. And to this, I'm going to be adding my tomato based crayfish stew. Now, normally the Italians would use the marinara sauce, and that is usually cooked with just tomatoes and some garlic, brown sugar, Italian seasonings, oregano, basil. So mine doesn't taste anything like that. This is more Nigerian flavored, Nigerian taste. So if you want this recipe, let me know in the comment section and I would gladly give you the full recipe. So I'm just going to pour this sauce all over the round circle and we're going to leave out the edge. We'll just put it in the middle, and that's it. We'll put it in the middle. We'll avoid the edge area. We're not putting on the edge, just the middle of it. And then after we have put our tomato base and evenly distributed it, we're going to be adding our toppings to this. So I'm drizzling a bit of olive oil, and that's just to keep it more moist. So you can drizzle vegetable oil if you have that. I prefer to use olive oil for this. Yeah. In On top of the sauce and on the sides of that's on the edge that we've created, I've also drizzled some olive oil. So I'm going to add my plantain topping. So I decided to also use some beef that has been fried already. I've got some leftover beans and I've just asked that it be brought. So I'm going to be using some beef, and I'm also going to be using some chili peppers. I'm going to add some sliced peppers later. You probably wouldn't see when I did put it, but I'm just going to add that. And of course, we'll be using some mozzarella cheese. We'll be using some cheese for this recipe. If you do not like any of the topping here, you can add what you prefer. You don't need to use exactly what I'm using. Pizza can have different toppings. If you're a fan of chicken, you can use turkey, you can use like put raw egg in the middle. It's still going to go into the oven and it's going to cook. You can put in vegetables if you just want to stick to only vegetables. You can put in beef, you can put in goat meat, you can put in some lamb, um whatever you want. You can put in green olives if you prefer. Some people prefer pineapples, you know. So it's your choice. For today's recipe, we're trying to adopt our Nigerian flavor into pizza. So I've added some onions, and I'm just going to use my hand to shred the beef in it. Just cut that in it. Our beef is already very tender and soft, and it will easily pull apart. And that's a wrap on my African party snack series, from puff puff to crunchy Nigerian buns, kokoro, fed cook, and now this bold plantain pizza fusion. We've traveled across Africa, one delicious bite at a time. Each of these snacks tells a story of flavor, tradition, and creativity. And I hope they've inspired you to bring African street food right into your kitchen. If you've enjoyed this series, don't forget to like this video, drop a comment about your favorite snack, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Because this isn't the end, it's just the beginning of more African fusion food adventures right here on this channel. Thank you for being part of this journey. For every like, comment, and share, it truly helps this channel grow. Stay tuned, stay creative, and keep making food that tells a story. Until next time, keep exploring. Bye.